Right.
Hello and welcome back to Pillars of Eternity. We are here in Gilded Vale. We just had a vision in the last episode of a dead woman hanging from this tree. So we should be checking that out, but I still want to explore this house over here first. Make sure we don't miss anything of value. Like Alfra. Oh, I think that means it's stealing. This red hand. We should be careful about that. Might piss him off. A dear wooden woman is standing in front of the fireplace, humming a quiet tune to herself, or perhaps to her unborn child, for she is clearly quite pregnant. She doesn't look it. She turns her head slightly as you enter.
Hail and well met.
Well, finally, I was starting to think... Oh, so I'm sorry. I was expecting someone else. Can I help you? I just arrived. I thought I'd get to know the locals. Were you with one of the caravans? Master Demas, by chance? Oh, it's her sister! Kalisa's sister! I was, yes. I'm afraid the rest of the caravan was killed. Alfra covers her mouth with a hand, eyes wide with horror. For a few moments she can manage nothing but a strangled voiceless gasping, her eyes brimming with tears. I knew. I told her it was a dangerous path to take. Kalisa was always so certain she could take on any danger. Oh, my poor sister. I'm sorry, stranger. I can't believe she's gone. If only I hadn't called her here. If I hadn't written to her, she might still be alive somewhere. Kalisa mentioned that she thought you needed help. Perhaps I can provide some assistance. That's kind of you to offer, but I don't know if I could impose this on you. It's not a small favor. I'm worried about the baby, about the legacy. I told Kalisa as much as I could, but all I know is that for a long time now, every child born in Gilded Vale has been soulless, empty. It's happened to so many mothers, and Lord Raedric, he's exiled all of them, calling it a sign of the gods' disfavor. With my Hathort gone, I don't know how I'd manage if I lost my home too. I hoped Kalisa would help me. They say Ranga, the old midwife, knows a way to prevent a child being hollowborn, but she moved south to Unslug's Compass 2 seasons ago. The journey's too far for me. I can't make it as I am. But I don't have anyone else now, with Kalisa gone. Please, can you help me? What is this? Gold-packed knights. Kind wayfarers. I'll find Ranga for you. You will? Oh, gods bless you. Here, I'll give you coin to pay her with. You needn't trouble yourself with that. I think it's a drink she fashions out of... Well, I'm not sure. But it shouldn't be too much of a burden to carry back. Unslug's Compass is what we call the lagoon to the south. You'll have to cross the wilds to get there. That's what kept me from trying it myself. Thank you again, truly. You'll be saving us both. I will do what I can. I don't want to loot your place now that I know you're pregnant and you are Kalisa's sister, so we'll leave you to be. Are you named? No, you are not. Anything of value up here? Like you? Let's read your soul quickly. See if anything triggers. I wonder how that is going to play out. That ability. But now's the time to try to find that dwarf woman hanging from the tree. Can I spot her here? Here she is. Dear, got anything new? No? Let's go read her soul, I think. That's what's gonna happen here. The squat, distended body of an elderly dwarf woman dangles from a thin, crooked bow that sags at the tug of her noose. The bloated purple flesh of her neck, worn away in patches like moth-eaten linens, bulges over the rope that suspends her, and her lifeless head lolls forwards rigidly from one side to the other when the breeze shifts. You perceive a faint glow around her that casts no light on its surroundings, but there is a tepid warmth to it, and you feel somehow that you could reach out and touch it, not with your hands, but with some aspect of yourself that has no worldly dimensions. Reach out. You take a deep breath, clearing your mind, focusing on your objective. As you exhale, you feel yourself spreading out towards the hanging woman, perceiving all that lies between you and her with new unfamiliar awareness. Once you have expanded enough to reach her, there is a sudden jolt to your mind, a ringing electric surge of images and words and sounds. Involuntarily, you shut your eyes and feel yourself being pulled down to some deeper consciousness in a space occupied only by you and the hanging woman. And when you open them again, she's staring at you with eyes clouded in a milky fog, her body still swaying in the wind you no longer feel from a tree that stands planted in the misty void. The woman gives a slow nod of her head, the rope creaking as she does so, and she smiles at you.
Have you come here for me, dear? Or have you gotten lost? Ah, it is both, I think. Yes?
I need to understand something that's happened to me. She nods, a look of pity on her face, as though she's consoling a child.
The world looks a little different than it used to, is that it? Feels like you're noticing things for the first time that have always been there. You have seen past the shroud. It only takes an instant. Your soul remembers, yes? Remembers how it sees when it leaves the body, like being reminded of a dream you had forgotten. You are a watcher now, and a watcher you will stay.
What is a watcher?
What indeed? Long hours have many animancers spent studying such things. Not I, though. Not I. I'll tell you what I know, though, since fair is fair, and here we are visiting, you and I, and it reminds me of better times. Souls pass on, some say through Audra stones, which are the blood veins of the world. They leave the world for a time and are reborn into it, sometimes more than they were before, but usually less and seldom the same. For all souls there is a time where they do not live, yet have not passed on, and those souls roam the world, same as you or I, either leaving or lost. But no one sees them because they have forgotten how.
Also, that's why I keep seeing adventurers. And I can't talk to them, just see their souls?
A watcher sees, though, knows what to look for. And sometimes they know a person just by looking at them, know where they've been in ages past when their bodies were other bodies. See memories even their owner can't recall. A wonder to behold when all goes well, a wonder!
How are you able to speak to me?
Is that what we're doing? Perhaps it just seems that way. Perhaps it is the easiest way for your mind to make sense of it. I think it is a very good choice.
What did you mean when all goes well?
Oh, nothing to be afraid of, I'm sure. It's just much to take in for some. Sometimes there's trouble sleeping or other difficulties. You should see old Merwald. He could tell you much more than I. A watcher just like you. Helped many in his day. Took up in an old keep no one would claim. Not far, not far. Kadnua, beyond the Black Meadow. He will welcome the company.
Okay, we'll have to trek there at some point. I think I survived the bivouac. Do you know why that would be?
Did you now, dear? My, that would be something, wouldn't it? Could be luck, could certainly be. A storm can be a careless thing. Or maybe it got its hands around your soul but couldn't pick it up. A soul can be heavy if it stayed in one piece through its time. Strong souls, we call them in the trade. Cold, I mean. Called them. Those days are all behind me now.
You said souls break apart over time.
Oh, yes. Entropy. Rimagan's work. We know little of why or how. We lose pieces of ourselves when we die and pick up pieces of others when we are born again, but less than what we lost. We tried to stop it with the animantic sciences, but with little success. A very small few resist Remergan's influence and stay together through some force of defiance, at least for a time. But they all succumb eventually, I think.
Am I imagining this?
No, I think not. A pity that. It would be simpler. A mercy even. To not have to wander anymore, no? Alas, we are here, you and I. Wherever here may be.
I want to know something about you.
Me? I'll bore you to tears, though.
Let's go with who are you?
And here I thought you'd come to visit me in particular. Caldara de Baranzi, of the Valian Royal Academy of Animantic Sciences. Not the greatest of their number, but I came here all the same because this was where help was needed.
What happened to you?
Oh, come now. Such a question. As though the answer were plain as a rope tied for strangling. Allow an old dwarf her last bit of cheer. Well, I came where I was needed, didn't I? Offered my services to Lord Radric for a pittance. A humble pittance. I was to examine the Lord's wife, see why the gods have seen fit to poison her womb. Studied her for months, looked high and low for impurities, tested her valence, the permeability of her essence. Do you know what I found?
Nothing?
Nothing at all. A healthy woman, head to toe, blessed with a beautiful soul. Such a sweet woman, too. Meek, but warm-hearted. A few months' time, and the lord of the house demanded answers. For a time, I told him what he wanted to hear. Oh, yes, my lord. She is riddled with imbalances. I must have time to cure her. As the birth drew near, he grew impatient, as lords do. And this is where I've ended up.
What is an animancer?
A student of the soul. Something so basic, yet so poorly understood. But so many breakthroughs have been made in my lifetime. Had been made. Had been. To hear the locals tell it, we're a gang of soul manglers that preys upon the weak-minded. And the worst of us are. But the best of us? The best? Inspirations, miracle workers. My parents were soul twins, miserable before they met, empty inside. It was an animancer who helped one find the other, turned their lives around. You wouldn't believe the stories. Amnesiacs helped to remember their lives. The suicidal brought back from the brink of oblivion. The elderly afforded extra moments to say their goodbyes. How soon we forget when we're afraid. It's a fascinating science. A fascinating time to be alive in a place like Deerwood that does not control the research, no? I love the Valian Republics for many things, but their recent caution will leave them behind, I fear.
That sounds fascinating. Any other questions? No, farewell.
Of course, dear. Goodbye, my dear. It was lovely visiting.
Alof looks at you through narrowed eyes. Are you alright? You seemed lost just now. I'm a watcher. Well, that's interesting. And I expect this has something to do with the hooded figures in the ruin, In any case, I appreciate your honesty. Since we're traveling together, it's probably wise for us to share these things. Tell me what you know about Watchers. Only that they're rare, and they seem to have unique insights into certain soul conditions, as you just demonstrated. Sure, let's continue on. Can I talk to you now?
17 and a half.
The smell of pipe smoke, at once earthy and sweet, winds its way into your nostrils. Your eyes trace the smoke to its origins, where you find a broad man with a straw-colored hair. He's not a single hair. He's got plenty of hair, leaning against a mossy rock wall, his pipe held to his lips with one meaty hand. He looks you directly in the eye, but the look is not aggressive. He regards you with a peculiar smirk.
17 and a half. Well, could be 18, depending on how you count the dwarf woman.
Sorry?
The dwarf woman. You were trying to figure out whether to count her as a full person. I think you oughta.
What are you talking about?
The people hanging from the tree. 18 of them. Well, last I counted, anyway.
It's terrible. Is that what you people do for fun around here?
Name's Adair. Though to the people around here, might as well be 19. Don't think I'd put you much higher than 22, 23 tops. You look like the sort that likes to get involved.
What makes you think I was interested in the dwarf woman?
I was smoking over here, saw you staring at her. Twice I refilled my pipe. You never so much as blinked. Your mouth was so slack I took you for a Radric at first.
Impossible! I don't drool half as much. He like that, that's good. Do you know what a watcher is? I think we can be somewhat honest with him too, because he's got a portrait.
Careful, friend. Let's not use that word round here. Could be any number of Radric bootlickers within earshot. Ciphers, animancers, watchers. Same thing in the eyes of folks around here, Radric especially. They come through these parts all the time with their cures, preying on the desperate. None of them are who they claim to be. Of course, seeing you with that funny look, I'd be halfway inclined to believe you were having some kind of communion with that dwarf. Either case, maybe I'm not 19 after all. No offense.
None taken. Good. They don't mean it personal when they hand folks here. I have to remind myself.
The town's had it in for me for a long time now. Only fellow who ever stuck up for me, well, he's number 18 up there. My headman on the farm. Used to be my captain during the war.
What does your town have against you?
Pick the wrong god. That's what it comes down to. Used to be a lot of Aethys worshippers in Gilded Vale. That mess of rocks over there, that was a temple to him, to give you some idea. Then one day, somebody named Widewind shows up on Deerwood's doorstep. Says he's the living flesh of Aethys. Got an army with him. Suddenly, Aethys isn't so popular in these parts. My brother Woden and me, neither of us believed it. No way was that Aethys. He enlisted, then I did too. But, he didn't make it back.
I'm sorry.
After the war, people took to punishing Aethys worshippers, accusing them of treason. Got real ugly, especially after the legacy started. Folks needed someone to blame. I was safe because I fought, but then this rumor starts that my brother, that he was on the wrong side. And I wasn't so safe anymore. Until my headman stepped in and said they'd have to hang him to get to me. Seems that's no longer a concern. Of course, the townies don't do the hanging these days, but when Radric's men come, they got no problem doing the pointing.
You can see why I was eager to leave. Sure. If you're next to be hanged, what are you still doing here? Drinking, mostly. Point of fact, I'm on my way out. Just haven't figured where I'm going yet. Not a whole lot of places out there that don't think Wadewind's legacy started with Wadewind. We could travel together. Where are you headed? Some place called Cadnua. There's an old watcher there who might be able to help me.
Seem to remember hearing something about that years ago. He tamed that place. People would seek him out for all kinds of things. Troubles of the soul, questions for the departed. Of course, that was back when you didn't have to say watcher with a hush on your breath. A man such as that, there'd be things I'd want to ask him. Don't know why I never thought of it before. Not sure how I feel about setting out with a stranger. And a strange one at that. But truth be told, you might be the only one in town who wouldn't feel some relief seeing me swing from that tree.
There's a fine reason if I ever heard one.
All right, then. Guess I'll do some sightseeing. Long as you're not the one picking the sights.
Let's get going. Alright, so we have another companion. That's sweet. I think he's gonna be... What is he, a fighter? That's great. He can do our tanking. Can I...
Hope you're
Yeah,
not
I can.
expecting much.
Good. We probably want to, Oh, he leveled up. Alof, sweet. But we're gonna do that in the next episode. As always, please like, comment, share these videos around. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys next time.